Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is January the 3rd, 2019, and I'm gardening in Pennsylvania in Zone 5B, and I'm going to be starting some of my eggplant seeds out in the greenhouse here. And the reason why I'm starting these early is they grew so well in the greenhouse last year over the spring and summer that I plan on growing them in the greenhouse instead of putting them outside in containers. I might put a few out in containers, I just haven't quite decided yet. But I thought, I'll just start some early, put them in their containers in here, and just let them grow. It's going to give me a harvest a whole lot sooner than if I wait for them to grow outside. So what I did was, I accidentally soaked too many pellets, but this is one of my Jiffy peat pellets here that's already been soaked, and I have videos on my channel for how I soak the peat pellets and fluff the soil and pull the netting back. And I went ahead and got these soaked, and then I put my eggplant seeds on top. So you can see this one here is one of my eggplant seeds. And what I did was I just pushed the seed into the soil surface. Now you can, if you choose to, lightly give this a covering over the seed. Now, I usually don't cover my eggplant seeds. Some they tell you to cover like with 1/4 of an inch of soil, and others they tell you to not cover them. So I did some experimenting when I grew them inside under my lights, which I do have videos on my channel for that, between covering the seeds and not covering them. And I found that not covering the seeds did better than covering them. That's my experience with it. So if you want to give it a little light covering, you could just kind of put just a little bit like soil over top and let some of the seed coating show right there. So that's one way that you can do them. And then I took a spray bottle and I misted over the tops of the seeds, because it's very important that you keep your seeds moist when they're germinating, and you don't want them to dry out. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them in an enclosed container on the heated floor. Now if you don't have a heated floor, I recommend using a germination mat, because eggplant seeds need higher temperatures to germinate. I find in like the upper 80s, 90s, they germinate very well for me. And a lot of times when you're trying to germinate your eggplant seeds, if they're not germinating, it's probably because they're not warm enough. And that's a big issue with when people try and grow eggplants from seed. They don't come up, and usually it's because they didn't reach the temperature that they needed to germinate. And pepper seeds are the same way. So the varieties here that I'm growing is Matoya, Aswad, Ping Tongue, and Little Fingers is in the back. Now my eggplants in the greenhouse are still growing. I have not gotten fruit off of them over the winter time. I think the last fruit I got off of them was back in November. If I'd have kept them on the heated floor, I probably would have gotten a harvest off of them, but it's my first year. Last year was the first year I grew anything in my greenhouse, so it was a big learning experience and experiment to see what all I could grow and how I could grow it. So I did label these with little tags here, and I'm going to get these moved, and I will show you then how I have them. So we'll be right back. Okay, so my eggplant seedlings, some of them are here and some others are in the other container over here, because they wouldn't all fit in one, and I'm probably going to change that and put them all in one. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking a spray bottle here, and I'm just spraying the soil top here to make sure that these are nice and moist here, so that they don't dry out on me. So what I did is I sprayed the tops so that the seeds will stay nice and moist and they won't dry out on me. And I'll check this 2 times a day. So I'm going to put the lid back on this here. But you'll notice I didn't seal the lid tight. And the reason why I did that is I want to let some of the excess heat and moisture escape out, and your seeds need oxygen when they're germinating. So I want to make sure that, you know, it's still getting some nice airflow in. We do have a fan that does run in here in the greenhouse 24/7, so that's going to help circulate the air around. And I just like to let a little airspace there. So eggplant seeds usually germinate in about 7 to 14 days. So when these start germinating, I will come back and I will show them to you. So we'll be back. Okay, so today is January the 6th, 2020, and I was checking on my eggplant seeds today, and I seen that one of the swad eggplants is starting to germinate for me here. You can see the little seed there, and it's putting its roots out for me. So I am still making sure I keep these nice and moist, because the heat in the floor is drying these out. So like this one here, the one that's a lighter color, I am going to give that one more water, because I need to keep these moist so that my seeds don't die as they're germinating, and so that they continue to germinate for me. So I am going to put the lid back on this container here so that these stay nice and warm and they continue to germinate for me. So you can see here today is January the 9th, 2020, and my eggplants are germinating here. You can see this one here pushed the seed coating off, and this one over here I moved out of the box over there because it did push the seed coating off. I'm going to take this one here. Now these two here are the swad eggplants. I did see where the Matoya is just starting to germinate. So all of my eggplant seeds are now in here that didn't germinate yet. And I am making sure that I keep them nice and moist. Now when these start getting their true leaves, I am going to start feeding them with a product called Sea Magic. I have a link down in the description for that. And I will feed them once every 2 weeks with that mixture. Now I did see on this one here where the root is already coming out the bottom of this eggplant here. I want to let it establish itself a little bit more before I do anything with them. Now eggplants do produce like a taproot, and that's what that is. So I don't want to damage that taproot. And I am going to be checking these to make sure that they don't dry out. They still are on the heated floor. I don't trust moving them up to the shelves because it does get cooler in here at night out in the greenhouse. So they're just going to stay here on the heated floor so that they continue to grow. One thing you don't want to do with eggplants is they do not like cold, and they do not like cooler temperatures. So I'm just keeping them here on the floor so that they stay nice and happy. And as these continue to germinate and grow, I will come back with more videos and I will show them to you. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. I'll tell you as I put a new video on. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. Bye!